Record. All right, we're live. So you guys, I want to welcome you back to another Soulful Business podcast. I haven't recorded in quite a while, and I've kind of just been waiting for inspiration. I mean, I don't feel like you should record a podcast just because like you need to record a podcast. It really needs to be heart-led. So after doing a whole season of just random all over the board podcasts, I stopped for several months, like almost a year. I've just been completely rogue and just didn't do anything. And the other day I'm on Facebook and I'm in a group with Avery Lane, who's on our podcast today. And I see this post where she says, guys, today I fired a client. And she talks about it, and we're going to talk about this today, but she goes on and on about why she did it, what it's like to be in alignment with a client, and what it's like to be in misalignment and how to know what that feels like. And I think it's really important that we unpack that today. So I stopped and the universe was like, you need to have her on your podcast. And I was like, great, this is fantastic. So here we are, Avery Lane. She is the owner of Soul Centered Visionaries, where she offers soulful and strategic branding, marketing, target services. And guys, she's amazing. I've scoped out her website, her social media sites. She is beautifully branded, and I think is a perfect example of what being a magnet for your ideal customer really is. So I'm sure Avery's going to talk about this a lot today. So like I mentioned, we're in several Facebook groups together. She actually owns a Facebook group herself called the Soulful Business Tribe. And because this is the Soulful Business podcast, complete alignment there for us, for sure. And we're in several different Facebook groups together. So I'd love to introduce you, Avery. And if you want to take a few minutes and tell us a little bit about yourself, like who are you? What do you do? What is this company that you have created? And what in the world is soulful and strategic branding, marketing, targeting?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And like I kind of said before we just became live, it's all cosmic alignment, right? Everything happens for a reason. And even the names, Soulful Business Tribe, Soul Centered Visionaries, and then your podcast, like it just connects, right? So thank you again for having me today. Gosh, a little bit about me. There's so much backstory. Okay, so I have found my passion, what I do, what I love, all through, just kind of being in alignment with everything, right? So my passion is energy branding. And how I do that is I literally connect all my clients to the soul core of why they started their passion and how they can amplify from that. So we dig into who they are, what they do, and set up their entire brand around that. The back end is like I use brand archetypes. I don't know if many people have heard about them, but brand archetypes is really your personal archetype to who you are and how you can actually attract your soulmate clients to that. So that is me and the gist. And then, of course, I have a beautiful co-founder that does this strategic and targeting side of it. So she has her abundance funnel, which teaches you how to funnel out your courses, your content, your services, and then from there, lay out your sequences and really start targeting your soulmate clients.
And that sounds fantastic. And I'm going to ask you some questions that just really recently happened for another like-minded retail business person that I'm associated with. But first, I want to ask you a question because I've noticed in all of your content that you put out there, you kind of lead with, I was supposed to be a nurse. So I'd love for my listeners to understand, like, you didn't just wake up in this kind of woo space of energy branding and connecting to your, business archetype, which half my listeners aren't going to understand what any of that means. But what in the world got you from like, I want to be a nurse to this, to understanding and finding your true purpose?
Yeah, so super deep backstory. My dad is a serial entrepreneur. So I grew up around entrepreneurship and what that looked like and being multi-passionate and changing your passion after passion and trying to really dive into that entrepreneurship and being a freedom business owner, right? So I've always been 100% encouraged behind me from him on how you can do what you love, like literally live your dream. And if you're not, like, that's only the thing that's going to make you happy. My mother's back end, she's in corporate. She is very safe and secure in her corporate job. You need security, you need health insurance, you need all the things. So like get a job that's with a company. So that's kind of the back end, right, of my two different parents. From there, growing up in high school, I owned my very first business. I was a concierge dog sitter for wealthy people in my Scottsdale, Arizona neighborhood. I grew my business to over 5 employees and 500 clients. And that was a great start for me in high school and putting myself through college, right? Had no idea what entrepreneurship really looked like. But what I knew is that I loved the freedom, the creativity, and being able to make my own passions come alive. But I knew that being a dog sitter, a concierge dog sitter, was not going to be my forever thing, and that I probably should follow my mother's advice and get a secure job. So I went into the field of becoming an EMT and working in a fire department and knowing what it's like to care for someone and to give all you can give to save someone else's life. It was amazing, but with the hours and all the things not lining up to having my freedom lifestyle, I decided to go be a nurse, because you only have to work, if you work in a hospital, 3 days a week, 12-hour shifts, and that's cool. I quickly realized I did not want to work in a building. I did not want to be a nurse. I did not want to give, and receive. Yes, you receive from your patients, and I think nurses are absolutely amazing in what they do, and they don't do it to receive back, but I was missing that aspect of my creative freedom and receiving back appreciation, right? So I realigned myself when I met with my cousin. Again, Rachel's my cousin, my co-founder, all the things. So I've known her my whole life. And she has done the corporate side of marketing. And we connected, and I told her about how much I used to love being a dog sitter and learning my own organic social media. So we connected in our first business together of being a digital marketing agency. It was absolutely amazing. It was wonderful. But we served anyone and everyone underneath the sun. We did all of the services, and we taught ourselves how to do all of them. And she, of course, had her background of doing them. But at the end of the day, it wasn't in alignment. We literally were working and receiving emails from clients until 2 a.m. almost every single day. And it was like, okay, this is not the way I want to live my life either. So what is it? So that's when we decided about over a year ago to center ourselves, rebrand ourselves, and look within and really realize, what are we passionate about, and what do we really want to offer people that we can feel that we are giving as much as we are receiving. That's how Soul Centered Branding, Soul Centered Visionaries, and the Abundance Funnel came alive. So.
I love it. So I want to make a point here. Avery, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, so we have clearly an old soul here in the building. Avery at 25 is teaching us a lesson. It's when how to identify misalignment. And that would be, you're working all hours of the day and night. You've got cranky clients. You have clients that aren't paying. You have clients that aren't signing, so you have no clients. There's a bunch of different ways to realize and to notify, like just to have a notification in your world that you're not in alignment. And Avery's done a really good job of talking about several different ways for you to feel that and see that actually exist in your life. 2, I think a great lesson that Avery just taught us is, no matter how old you are, even 25, you can pivot. And so we've listened to her story already where she wanted to do this, and then she pivoted, and she wanted to do that, and she pivoted, and she even became a nurse, and she was like, I don't want to do this. And she pivoted. And life is just a journey where we get to choose every day when we wake up what makes us happy and what lights our soul on fire, and what we're going to do that day and what we're not going to do that day. And we're allowed to make those choices, and we're allowed to pivot. And I think that that's a really important lesson that 25-year-old Avery has just taught us within the first 5 minutes of this podcast. So just want to take note there to really call that out. So thank you for that, and for your wisdom, as well as for giving us permission to pivot at any time, no matter what degree you have or what degree you don't have, or however old you are.
Yeah. And I want to say one more thing too. I think that we are criticized by the world with our pivoting. And we look internally and we think, oh my gosh, we just wasted all our time on this and it didn't line up for us and it didn't work out. When really it was supposed to take that much time and it was supposed to be that way so that we could realize what we really want to step into and what we really is called for us, right? So you didn't waste any time pivoting. And I think I've even had to realize that, criticizing myself. Well, I just wasted all this time getting this nursing degree. Well, I just wasted all this time getting this done. No, I didn't waste the time. I just realized and stepping more into what I'm supposed to be doing or what I really want to be doing.
I agree. And I think that that's how contrast also in our life shows up, that polarization effect of, God, I really love what I'm doing, or like, God, I just created hell on earth for myself. Yeah. And it sounds like you've done that. I've done that multiple times. A great example of how I did that last year, I left my company that I had built and had for almost 5 years and went to work for someone to help be their business development person. Mm-hmm. And I'm really good at business development, but it can also be a double-edged sword because you have too many clients. It creates literal hell on earth. So last year, I really wanted to like flex my corporate muscles and show how amazing I was at business development. And I brought in 70 clients in less than 6 months. Now, we had lots of money flowing in, but we had to hire new team members, which created stress in that aspect. Everybody was working a ton of hours. The clients' needs weren't being met. I was charging way too low to get that many people into the door. So we had a bit of a cash flow crisis at one point where we needed more headcount, but didn't have enough income coming in revenue. And it was, again, I really think that, here on earth, we can create a literal hell. And I had literally created that for myself. And I learned from that contrast of, I might be badass at business development, but I have to be very careful moving forward how much I charge for my services and how much I'm willing to work, and to be very clear on that and to put a cap on how many clients get to come through the door. And I was tested with this just yesterday, Avery. I had one of those clients from back last year found me on social media and sent me a text message last night. And she said, hey, I'd love to work with you again. And I'll throw some numbers around. Last year, we were only charging $500 a month for us to fully manage Amazon accounts. $500. Wow. That's freaking nothing, right? So we needed 70 clients in order to like support everybody. Yeah. And so I'm talking to her about what my corporate rate is and how I only keep 20 clients at a time, and I only have spots for 4, and I already have 2 contracts out. So there's really only 2 spaces if she wants to come join me. And she's like, awesome, but I don't like your rates. Can you go back to where you were a year ago? And I'm like, no, that was a great lesson learned. So I love that there is polarization. Like, you do have this aha moment when you do put yourself into kind of that uncomfortable position that says, okay, I'm not in alignment. This doesn't feel good, and I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And so to pivot. That's when it's time to pivot.
Pivot and set boundaries, right? Like, what do you actually have space for, and what are you not allowing in? And I think honestly that like brings us to the topic of having boundaries and who we're actually providing our services for, right? And some of those people, they slip through the cracks, and as good as they sound up front and everything seems to be in alignment, things can fall out of alignment very easily, right? It's just what do we hold space for to be out of alignment, and what do we not hold space for at all? So.
Yes. So that brings us to our topic of conversation, which is I fired a client and why. And I think for a lot of people listening, this is going to seem like a really weird conversation that we're having. And this brings me back to the example I was going to give you, Avery, and get your thoughts on. So I have someone in one of the group coaching programs that I'm involved in that reached out to me last week, and he said, hey, I love the way that you're doing business, and you're always talking about bringing in new clients and how you're getting so much interest in what you're doing. I'm just trying to like get anybody through the door. Like, I just need some new leads. I just need some hot blood. Like, can you help me figure out how to fill up my pipeline? Yeah. And so I stopped at that point and tried to explain to him how I've pivoted. It's exactly the services that you offer, which is all about creating a magnetic brand that only aligns a very particular type of client to you. Mine is very female, as is yours. Mine is very much currently today all about retail and only Amazon and Walmart. Like I have a very specific, very niche client that I try to attract. You're the same way. So will you talk to us a little bit about how you identify misalignment, maybe some signs to look for, and then how you nip it in the bud quickly?
Absolutely. So, and as I said, like in the previous business that we had and that we had to realign, we offered services to anyone and everyone under the sun that wanted to throw money our way. Absolutely. Sure. We'll take it. Right. And that really made us realize the type of people that we're working with and the type of clients that we're serving. I hate the word niching, so I'm not going to niche down, but I am going to say that I only offer services to soulful women entrepreneurs and people that are passionate about what they're doing. And you don't have to do all the things. You don't have to know all the things, but you have to be passionate about what you're doing for me to accept you as my client, right? And not just that, but you have to have your own boundaries and respect and know who your audience is. So learning your audience is key. It's like one of the first steps that I teach my branding clients. Not only do you know who you are and what you do, you have to know who your services are for and who you're serving.
So in step one here, I want to ask you a quick question. Do you offer a questionnaire? Is it like you have a conversation and you intuitively just know and feel whether they are really plugged in and really excited and for real want to do this? How do you know?
Yeah. So for my service, my branding service, I only allow 4 clients a month because I pour my energy just as much as they pour their energy into their business. So I have an initial connection call, which is 100% free. But first step is showing up, right? Like if you're going to book a call, you're going to show up. And if you don't show up, I really honestly don't have room for second chances, because if you wanted to be there, you would make it commit, or you would try to reschedule with me versus no showing. So I haven't received any no-shows since we've realigned our business. Second step is being on that call and telling me about what you do, and me seeing that energy and that intuitive feeling of like, okay, they love what they do. They just need direction, or this is really out of alignment and they really don't even want to do this. So maybe the first step is hiring a mindset coach, and you're not ready for me yet. Right? And I'm okay with sending away clients, because I know at the end of the day, sending away one client is going to open the door for 4 more clients to come through, and I can make space for that versus holding someone's hand through their whole mindset journey and all the things that they need to do before they actually see what they're passionate about. Yeah. So step 1 is having that initial connection. And then from there, when we start our branding journey, we really dig into who you are, what you do, why do you do this, what is your mission, what is your goals for this, and then from there we'll jump into the entire discovery.
It feels like you don't even have an ounce of desperation in your business or in your body, and I'm sure at some point you may have felt that, but you don't anymore today. For those that are listening to this podcast or watching it, watching the video, how would you encourage them? Like, what tools could you give them to help them get over that hump of like move out of desperation and move into abundance? That fact that you just said, if I let one client go that is not aligned with me, it opens up the door for 4 more. How does that work for you?
It's so much internal trust and knowing within inside of you that it is okay to say no to someone. I think there's a completely separate element to that, and it's called scarcity, right? We are entrepreneurs. We need to make every dollar. We are the ones putting food on our own tables. No one else is doing it for us. And if we are not out there hustling and getting every single client, we're not putting food on our table. We have to stop thinking that way, because we need to start moving into a state of don't be desperate. There is literally 8 billion, 9 billion people on this planet. There is no such thing as oversaturated. I don't believe that. I think that there is literally a client for everyone, and oversaturation does not exist with 8 billion people in this world needing your service. That's how I look at it. And then secondly, scarcity. It's always going to be there as an entrepreneur, but know that when you send away that one client, you are now respecting yourself, because you're setting your boundaries and your expectations of what to receive, and you're being mindful of who is about to come into your space that is actually going to pay you and respect you and value you.
It's
I know that
good.
was a little
Good
bit of
stuff.
a tangent.
So if we're creating like a 3-step plan to getting rid of clients that are not in alignment, step 1 you said was have an alignment call, really dig deep with this person and intuitively open up and understand, like be able to identify whether or not they're ready and they're like at the same pace and plane that you're on and ready to go forward. And if not, then you send them to a mindset coach or someone else that can help them to get them prepared, and you release them and you
Yep.
open up the door for 4 more. What would
Mhm.
step 2 be?
Step 2 would be, once that client and I decide that we are a match to work with each other, it's really starting to dig into who they are and who they are trying to serve. Like, soulfully, who are you? Why are you doing this in this space? Why are you offering these services? You have to be passionate about it, but why, right? And who are you doing these services for? Everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, and if you say that you work for everyone, that's not true, because everyone has an ideal client in their mind. They have a dream client. They have a soulmate client that they want to work with, and they know that if they work with that client, they can make the utmost amount of money, have no limitations, and feel amazing in their job and their space. Literally the reason that we're being an entrepreneur, right, is to create our freedom, do what we love, and have no limitations. So
Yeah.
finding who that soulmate client is for them is step 2 and 3. Like, who is your soulmate client? And then I'd say step 3 would be, how are we positioning ourselves, targeting ourselves, branding ourselves to actually reach that soulmate client and know our boundaries, know our limitations of who is not in alignment with us.
That is so good. I'm taking notes so that I can also put them in the show notes.
Yeah,
So once you've
absolutely.
done 1, 2, and 3, you've set up an alignment call and made sure that they're actually aligned and ready to work with you. You've let go of the people that aren't ready and you've moved forward with those that are. 2, you decide that they're a match. And then from there, you help the client identify who they really are as humans, what their core reason for being here is, and then who they want to attract. You call it a soulmate client. I love that. That's really fun. And then 3, you've talked about, then you reposition that client that you have so that they can actually match and attract the soulmate client. Coming out of that, I'm assuming there's some sort of like branding session, photo shoots, content creation. How does that process work?
Yeah, so that is literally the entire bulk of our branding course. I call it the Soul Centered Branding Journey, or Soulful Branding Journey. Those names are kind of interchangeable, whatever feels best to you. That's really where we start diving into learning your own archetypes, how we can connect those archetypes to ourselves, our brand, our business, our mission, our core values, all of the elemental branding aspects we take and we put in one entire course, so that now when we're ready to start reaching those people, we are set up on a solid foundation. We know who we are, we know what we do, we know who we serve, and we know what we hold space for. Now we can go out there and get it.
And this course is not an online course, it's an in-person event with you.
So no, it's online. So
Okay.
it is a 6-week course. It is a course that I'll give you each week up front, and then we have a reflection call weekly. Those reflection calls are about an hour and a half long. We talk about everything. We talk about the strategy. We talk about anything in life and business that you feel is within alignment or fit to our topic. And so I serve clients all over the world. I have a few in Australia, a few in Europe, a lot here, obviously in the United States. So yes, I reach people all over the world.
Now you do have an event coming up in September, correct?
We do. So that is our Soulful Biz Immersion Retreat. The retreat is pretty awesome. It's a few of us collectives that get together, and we have our workshop topic points, and we really meet with women entrepreneurs that are passionate about what they do and help them really illuminate from that in each aspect of your mindset, your brand, and then your targeting and positioning.
One thing I noticed on your website was about building out soulful and mindful funnels. And I know for me, when I think funnels, I think like Gary Vee.
Okay.
I think super dominating masculine energy, shoving funnels down your throat. Everywhere you go, there's a funnel or there's a bot or and I think in my business, that's turned me off so much that I just haven't even built out a funnel at all. And I'm like, if you don't find me on any of the 3 different platforms that I'm on, then like maybe you're not meant to. But then there's another side of me that's like, but I really should create a nice, really beautiful, gentle funnel. Can you talk about funnels for a minute and how you feel about them? Clearly you like them because you create them. So what is this like feminine type of funnel feel like?
Yeah, so this is Rachel's aspect and Rachel's expertise. So what she does is she really helps you to once you hone in your soulmate clients with your offer or your opt-in or your freebie or whatever gift that you have, now they are your clients and they want to be seen by you intimately, right? So within your side of your email list, who you are, how you're showing up, what you have to offer, the gifts that you have to give of your value and your knowledge, and funneling it that way. So the way that Rachel has 2 different funnel systems, she has her abundance funnel course that literally lays out the entire process for you of your funnels, your email sequences, and how to target those soulmate clients through Facebook advertising and Facebook positioning. Rachel's background is in the corporate world of working for masculine-dominated companies such as Geico and a few different credit unions in Virginia and a few different other places on the East Coast. And so she's had that masculine aspect of push, 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 funnel, funnel, funnel. But the way that she sets hers up are light and airy, and they allow your soulmate clients to see you in an intimate setting and receive gifts and value from you to now trust you and now really want to get to know you and work with you in that setting of creating the funnel up for them to actually reach you and you to monetize.
Which I love. It's so that pull attraction marketing, which is what I felt for you.
Yeah.
I saw your post in a Facebook group and it wasn't spammy and it wasn't sponsored and it was like, here I am showing up as my true authentic self. Here's a story that I'm going to tell you about me firing a client and why, and what alignment feels like in your business and what it should look like. And that was it. And now I can't get enough of you. I'm like, I need to be in your email list and I need a follower and stalker on social media, because I think when you do find someone that is in alignment with you, you want more of them. I feel like that about Rachel Hollis. I don't know if you follow her. Oh my God. I can't get enough. I'm listening to all of our podcasts, and that's an example of what we're talking about for the listeners and the viewers of what alignment feels like. So think about in your mind a handful or even 2 people in your world that you're just kind of obsessed with. Yeah. It might be like, the Desperate Housewives people on television. I don't know. I don't watch any of that kind of reality TV, but it might be somebody like that. It might be a Rachel Hollis. It might be a Gary Vee. I don't know. It might be whoever. And that's what we're talking about, that you can actually create customers and clients that want to be a part of your world and want to just jump in the deep end and have you bathe all over them. And it's true. And those are going to be the kind of people that stick around, that are happy to pay your rates, no matter how expensive they are. They're going to find money for it, and that want to come to an immersion retreat with you. Like, how fun is that?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so I know I just want to go back to that point of like the people that you idolize. What are the aspects that you idolize behind them? Like, what emotions do you feel when you follow them? What emotions do you want your clients to feel when they follow you, right? And again, that's all authenticity. That's showing up and being you with no limitations, no judgment. Yeah, I receive ridicule because my posts are not selling. Like, what's your end point here? What is the end game? Like, no, I'm just telling you, I experience things just like you do as an entrepreneur, but this is how I overcome them. So you don't have to sell in every post. You just have to show up and be you.
Well, and interestingly, sometimes that makes people more curious and want to dig deep into your website and dig into your blog and listen to your podcast. Just because you're showing up authentically, I think you shine and you stand out from the rest of the crowd that is all about what's my call to action and how am I going to sell and which thing do I want to push next.
Exactly.
So
yes.
Well, I guess we're nearing the end of this podcast. It's been super fun. Is there anything that you want to leave any words of wisdom or anything just around the topic of aligning yourself with your ideal customer and just attracting them to you?
Ooh, interesting. I think the only thing I have to say is anyone that's feeling like they're desperate to get clients and they need to get clients, know that I've been there. I know what it's like to be desperate, but I also know what it's like to get those clients that are out of alignment that you're like, I don't want to work for this client, but it's money, right? And realize, who is it that you want to work with? What do you want to step into? And it's okay to say no. Like, it is okay to have boundaries and set up your values to reflect what you want, and also set up the space that you don't hold space for, right? You don't allow people that disrespect your time. You don't hold space for people that don't want to pay your prices and are asking you for discounts. And once you set that up, that is all mindset. Once you set that up, now your mind knows what it's supposed to be connecting with, and everything else is going to follow. Yes, put the work into it. Yes, put the effort into it. But you have to set yourself up in a position that only you are going to be happy with at the end of the day, and those soulmate clients will be there.
Ah, good words of wisdom from Avery Lane. Avery, how can people find you? I'm sure after this conversation, they're going to want to come dive into your website and your content on your social media.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find us at soulcenteredvisionaries.com. You can find us on Instagram we have two of them. So we have soul-centered_visionaries. And then we have Instagram of Avery_Lane_energy, which is my personal one. Come friend me. Let's be friends. Let's talk. Let's connect. I am literally holding space for everyone that is feminine, passionate, in love with what they do, and really ready to position themselves, right? You can find us in our Soulful Business Tribe. We love all new members. Engage with us, connect with us. All of our members are there to be in a high-vibing, up-leveling space and support each other through our passions. So, yeah, those are all the ways.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye now.